Jones, who won a Super Bowl with the Packers, and from Good Morning Football, Peter Schrager, here with you all the way up to kickoff, 7:20 here local time. Happy New Year, fellas. It is the new year. Hope reigns eternal. What are you looking forward to?
Man, I'm looking forward to toe meeting ball, getting some questions answered, some of the storylines with all of these teams, those playing out a little bit. I just want to see some football. It's time. We talk about it so much. It's time to play something that matters.
It's been a long offseason, long preseason. Now these games mean something. I'm ready to go see these stars get out there, put their cleats on, get on the grass. Let's go to work.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm ready to go.
This morning, fan bases in 32 different cities woke up thinking, this is our year. This is our year. That's what I love about the NFL. It's unlike any other sport. Hope springs eternal, Amber.
They're booking their tickets to Miami for Super Bowl 54 already. But I'll tell you, the Oakland fan base has something to be concerned about today. We have news out of Oakland. We continue with this developing story. The Antonio Brown saga, well, it continues. According to Ian Rappaport, Brown could face team discipline after an altercation yesterday with GM Mike Mayock. Now, this is how it all began. There was an Instagram post yesterday from Antonio Brown. He posted this disciplinary letter that he received from the Raiders saying that he would be fined for missing some of the preseason. Now, Mike Mayock, he spoke to reporters a little bit earlier. This is what he had to say.
Okay, short and sweet. Antonio Brown's not in the building today. He won't be practicing. I don't have any more information for you right now. And when I have some and it becomes appropriate, you guys will all get it, I promise you. But that's it for today. Thank you.
Mike Mayock, short and sweet. For more on this, let's head out to the Raiders practice facility in Alameda, California, and we welcome in MJ Acosta, who is covering this. MJ, we know Antonio Brown not in the building, did not practice. What is the vibe? What are his teammates saying right now?
Well, I'll start with Mike Mayock there, because in speaking with team sources earlier this morning when all of this news broke out, they emphasized how necessary it was for Mayock to set this tone, especially in his first year as a general manager. We've seen it all throughout training camp, and you can tell from the context or lack thereof during HBO's Hard Knocks how tight-lipped Mayock is keeping this operation. He is trying to steer this ship in his fashion, not playing any games. This is all business, and certainly when he came out earlier today to speak to reporters, he echoed that. No nonsense, straight to the point. He's not here, and when I can and it's appropriate, I will give you more information. Now, in terms of the locker room, when I spoke with other sources again this morning, I'm told that the players do genuinely like Antonio Brown. They gravitate to him. They like him as a teammate. But even so, after that reported argument yesterday, several players thought that it was out of line and, quite frankly, disrespectful to get into it like that with their general manager.
Yeah, they like Antonio Brown, but they like him better when he is on the field and performing for the Oakland Raiders like he is supposed to, and we don't know if that is going to happen on Monday night against the Broncos. Thanks a lot, MJ Acosta, with the latest. For more on how this all developed in the background story, let's bring in our insider, Ian Rappaport. All right, Ian, we all know about Helmetgate. We know about the mysterious foot injury, missing time in the preseason. But what happened over the past 24 hours to lead to this?
Well, it started, Amber, with Antonio Brown posting the fine letter, which is really very standard. Players get fined all the time. Posting it on Instagram, these are often kept secret. And there's one thing, as MJ just said, Mike Mayock wants to keep everything in-house. He did not like Antonio Brown posting that publicly, clearly. So from what I understand, yesterday during the Raiders practice, there was a shouting match between Mike Mayock and Antonio Brown. And from what I understand, it was way more Brown than it was Mayock. And among the things that were said was AB threatening Mayock, saying essentially, I'll hit you in the face, taking a football, punting it, and then saying, fine me for that, which the Raiders likely will do. A good suggestion, but what we do not know is whether this disciplinary action is going to include a suspension. If the Raiders do suspend Brown, then likely they will come after his guaranteed money. That could, in fact, void all of the $30 million guaranteed that is coming him. He also could appeal. There's a lot going on here. We still need to know what the Raiders actually are going to do discipline-wise.
We do know that John Gruden is going to speak to the media in about an hour. We're going to bring that live to you when he does step to the podium. Ian, thanks so much for the latest on the Antonio Brown saga that continues. It began in Pittsburgh. It kind of makes sense now what the Steelers were dealing with. And how do you think this plays out, Peter?
It's interesting. We're in front of Bears and Packers fans, two prized franchises. The Raiders and Steelers are two crown jewel franchises, too. And in the matter of 6 months, Antonio Brown can burn bridges, not only with two franchises and their fan bases, but two very player-friendly coaches, Mike Tomlin and John Gruden, two guys who very few players ever have problems with. This might end very ugly for Antonio Brown. There might be a chance he never plays in a regular season game for the Oakland Raiders. And what would that mean? If they find this conduct detrimental to the team, they could suspend him. And because of the way his contract's written, they could void the $29 million guaranteed he had coming to him week 1.
Wow.
If that's the case, you pay him $1 million, you say, c'est la vie, and you move on with the season.
They can do that?
They can do that based on the contract. Now, of course, there could be appeals and all sorts of actions, but in a public altercation in front of others in which he's threatening the general manager, there is conduct detrimental to the team a few days before game day. This could end really ugly and really unfortunately for everyone involved.
And it makes you start to wonder, we heard numerous things in Pittsburgh. But obviously, everybody feels like they've got a chance to go to Miami and to win a Super Bowl. And the one thing you do not want to be talking about just before your first football game of the season is all this other stuff, all this other junk that's going on that has nothing to do with us performing on the football field. I think it's got to just be frustrating for those other 52 guys to go, really, how did we get here when we all had so much excitement going into the season?
And you're exactly right, and that's what I want to touch on, man. You're talking about guys, 53-man roster that had your back since day one, coaches that had your back since day one. We all go through
You
things.
had his back.
I had his back. We all go through fines. We all have been fined. We all go through miscommunication with coaches, arguing with coaches. But at the end of the day, you go out there and you battle for your teammates. These dudes need you out there. They've been having your back all offseason, and you keep letting them down. Beyond Mayock and all that, you keep letting Derek Carr down, who stood up at the podium for you. Plenty of your teammates who stood at the podium, and you're not going to show up. First it was the helmet, then it was the feet. Now you're not going to show up because you've been fined and you missed practice. You should be fined. But you have to show up for your teammates, man. And that's disappointing, man, because I've been on the AB bandwagon. I'm an AB fan, but you got to show up for your team.
And now Tyrell Williams could be the #1 receiver as they open up Monday night against the Broncos. We don't know if Antonio Brown will be on the field, but we'll continue to keep you up to date as we find out more whether he's suspended or not. But in the meantime, we're here for a happy reason. We're here because it's the 100th season of the National Football League. The Bears and the Packers, the